In a quiet forest town, trees fall, people vanish, and a strange footprint sparks fear in every heart. But when the sheriff discovers a creature that shouldn't exist, the hunt for truth turns into a nightmare. Because this isn't just an animal, it's something far older, far darker, and it's coming for them all. The film begins, and we are shown a dense forest where a few men are cutting down trees. They're currently clearing the southern part of the forest. Everything goes as normal throughout the day, but as evening falls, one of their companions suddenly disappears. The supervisor tries to contact his team, but receives no response. So, he goes into the forest alone, which proves to be his biggest mistake. A dangerous creature suddenly appears, attacks him, and kills him. The scene then shifts to a location not far from the forest, where we meet the town's Sheriff Paul, the main character of the story. He's sitting alone in a park, looking quite dejected and sad. We then see a horse owner who once had 13 horses, but now only has 12. One horse is missing. To find his horse, the man seeks help from Paul and his fellow detective, Donnie. During the investigation, they both speculate that the horse might have escaped after the gate was left open. They take the case lightly and leave. Paul then goes straight from there to his son. His wife currently lives separately at her mother's house for some reason. Paul takes his son home and begins cooking dinner. Meanwhile, his son innocently asks, "Dad, when will Mom be with you again?" Paul sadly replies, "It'll take time for both of us." While they're still talking, Paul senses someone in the house. When he goes to check, no one is there. Unperturbed, he puts his son to sleep and goes to bed himself. The next morning, Donnie arrives at Paul's house and notices strange animal footprints outside. This leaves Paul confused. When they follow the footprints, they find them stretching across the road, leading straight into the woods. Inside the forest, they find more strange footprints. Paul inquires about this with the forest department, the officials who monitor the area. But they tell him they neither know anything about this animal nor have they ever heard of it. These mysterious footprints become a problem with no explanation, frightening the townspeople. They try hard to uncover the truth about this creature but find nothing. Finally, Paul calms everyone down, saying it's just a prank. Later, we see Paul talking to the church priest. The priest tells him that his dog has suddenly disappeared, another missing animal. So Paul files a report about it. Meanwhile, Donnie is seen inside Paul's cabin. He takes out a photo of a child from Paul's drawer and looks at it intently. This child was actually Paul's son, something Paul had never told Donnie. When Paul goes to the grocery store, the owner questions him about the strange animal seen in town. Another store employee interrupts, saying his grandfather once told him that something dangerous lived in the forest, a threat to everyone. Paul doesn't believe him. The man mocks Paul, saying, "What kind of police are you if you can't even catch an animal?" He throws a few more insults, angering Paul. Paul scolds him and leaves. Outside, Paul meets a hunter who tells him that deer used to be abundant in this forest, but now not a single one can be found. It's as if all the deer and all the animals have vanished. Paul feels uneasy after hearing this and goes to his wife's house to pick up his son. His wife tells him that when she and their son went to the park, the other kids said that a demon monster had arrived and that those footprints belonged to it. This frightens Paul. Their conversation also reveals that she separated from him 6 months ago, for a serious reason. When their talk ends, she sends their son with Paul. While they're driving home, a strange, dangerous creature suddenly appears in front of their car. It quickly runs into the forest after seeing them. Paul gets out of the car to see what it was, keeping his son inside for safety. As he explores, he finds the missing horse's collar, leading him to believe that this creature killed and ate the horse, and possibly even the priest's dog. But the creature escapes before he can see it clearly. Paul heads back toward the car, only to find his son missing. Panicked, He calls out for him repeatedly, but there's no response. His anxiety grows until he suddenly spots his horse trailer, where he finds his son hiding inside. Relieved, Paul hugs his son and says, "Thank God you're fine." Meanwhile, Donnie visits the hunter's bar. The hunter offers him a drink and tells him an old story, one passed down by his grandmother. He says spirits are believed to reside in this forest. He recalls a boy who once disappeared and was later found hanging 30 feet above the ground in a horrific condition, something no human could have done. People believe a demon monster lives in the forest, preying on humans and animals alike. This story deeply unsettles Donnie. The next day, Paul and his wife visit their son's school and meet the principal. The principal complains about their son's behavior, that whenever he talks about his brother, he speaks as if he's still alive, even though his brother died some time ago. It's the same brother whose photo Donnie found earlier. Paul's wife gets upset, argues with the principal, and leaves. On the way, Paul passes by his son's grave, which fills him with sadness. He then spots Donnie nearby, and as they talk, they hear a strange noise. Looking up, they see millions of birds flying overhead, a terrifying sight. The hunter later tells Donnie that the forest's balance has been destroyed, and now all the birds are fleeing. They were supposed to head south, but they're flying in the wrong direction, a sign that something strange is happening. Donnie tells Paul about his conversation with the hunter, mentioning the boy found hanging in the forest. Paul dismisses it as a murder case. He doesn't believe in monsters. That night, Donnie and Paul's wife talk while fixing his car. Donnie tells her how he became a police officer. Paul's wife then opens up about her past. "When I went to my mother's house with my son, my other son and Paul were home alone. While playing, our son went to the swimming pool and accidentally drowned. I distanced myself from Paul because I blamed him for not being responsible enough. That same night, Paul gets a call from the horse owner and goes to his house with Donnie. The man seems nervous. He says someone was banging on his door loudly the previous night. The sound wasn't human. He begs Paul and Donnie to investigate, but Paul dismisses it as a kid's prank. Just then, they hear a loud noise from the shed. Paul goes inside alone and comes face to face with the same creature from the woods, but it escapes once again. The next morning, Paul and Donnie return to the hunter's barn, where they find the creature's footprints again. Paul takes them as evidence, determined to uncover what's happening. Later, while spending time with his family, his son says, "I want to live with both of you." Paul tells him gently, "It'll take some time." That night, while driving home, Paul spots a dead deer on the road. When he gets out to check, the dangerous creature suddenly attacks him, knocking him down. Fortunately, Paul survives and drives home quickly. The next day, Paul and Donnie meet at a bar. Paul tells Donnie about the attack, how he finally realized the creature is real. Just then, they encounter the same store worker again, who mocks them by calling them coolies. The following morning, 3 hunters go into the forest to hunt animals, unaware that the creature is watching them. One by one, it brutally attacks and kills them. Sometime later, Paul passes through the forest and suddenly remembers his son, calling out emotionally. A severely injured hunter hears him and comes forward. Paul helps him and asks what happened. The hunter tells him everything. The creature attacked and killed his companions. Paul realizes the forest has become deadly and the creatures are cunning and vicious. Just then, another hunter calls Paul, urging him to come quickly. When Paul arrives, he finds the other 2 hunters' bodies hanging from a tree, brutally mutilated. Seeing this, Paul orders everyone to stay out of the forest and calls the forest department. That evening, the weather turns icy. The whole town becomes silent and empty as everyone stays indoors. Tony visits Paul and is shown a report. A team of woodcutters has disappeared. Paul concludes that clearing the forest has unleashed these creatures, Later, the store boy visits Paul and shows him a video where a creature can be seen running and then suddenly vanishing. After everyone leaves, Paul hears his son screaming. The creature has entered their house. Terrified, Paul locks his son in the bathroom and calls Donnie for help. Donnie arrives quickly and tries to catch the creature, but it escapes. With the townspeople's lives now in danger, Paul and Donnie gather everyone in the church for safety. However, numerous creatures surround the church, roaring ferociously. Paul sends everyone to the basement and, along with Donnie, prepares to confront them. In the fight, a creature injures Donnie, but he manages to shoot it in the shoulder. Before it can attack again, Paul arrives and shoots it dead. After a while, everyone comes out of the basement, believing the danger is over. But then Donnie and Paul notice something shocking. The creature's wounds are healing on their own. They realize this is no ordinary creature. It's a demon, possessed by an evil spirit. And worse, there are many more like it. As these horrifying creatures surround the church, Paul and Donnie understand that their doom is inevitable. The monsters will destroy everything, humans and animals alike. The film ends with this terrifying revelation as the creatures rise to unleash chaos upon the world.